My name is Lily. I'm 26 years old, and 3 months ago, my brother Jake pushed me into a pool at his wedding reception, fully clothed, makeup ruined, dress destroyed, in front of 150 guests. Everyone laughed. His groomsmen cheered. His new wife thought it was hilarious, until something floated out of my pocket, something that made my brother's face go completely pale. And when everyone saw what it was, the laughter stopped, the party stopped, everything stopped. What was in my pocket? Stay until the end to find out, and if your sibling ever humiliated you publicly, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments how you handled it. Jake has always been the golden child, the athlete, the popular one, the kid who could do no wrong. I was the quiet sister, the bookworm, the one who stayed in the background while Jake shined. Our parents adored him. Every football game, every achievement, every girlfriend, it was all celebrated like he'd won the lottery. Me? I got good grades and worked 2 jobs to pay for community college. Nobody threw me parties for that. Jake got a full ride to state college, played football, partied every weekend, barely graduated. But he was charming, got a sales job making decent money, met a girl named Brittany who came from money. Her parents loved him. Within a year, they were engaged. The wedding planning took over our family's life. Mom talked about nothing else. Dad paid for half of it, even though he'd told me he couldn't help with my college loans. It's different, Mom said when I brought it up. Weddings are important. Education is an investment you make in yourself. So Jake got a $40,000 wedding, and I got more debt. Brittany asked me to be a bridesmaid. Not because we were close, we barely knew each other, but because it would look bad if the groom's only sister wasn't in the wedding party. Just so you know, she said during our first dress fitting, the bridesmaids are paying for their own dresses, shoes, hair, and makeup. The dress alone was $350. Shoes were $120. Hair and makeup package was $200. I was working as a teacher's assistant, making $32,000 a year. That was almost a whole paycheck. Can't we find something less expensive? I asked. Brittany looked at me like I'd suggested wearing trash bags. This is my wedding, Lily. I'm not compromising my vision because you're on a budget. I put it on my credit card, added it to the pile of debt I was already drowning in. The bachelorette party was worse. 4 days in Miami. I couldn't afford the flight or the hotel, so I told Brittany I couldn't make it. Seriously? She said. You're going to skip my bachelorette party? I'm sorry. I just can't afford it right now. She rolled her eyes. Whatever. But don't expect to be in any of the photos. Jake called me later. You're really not going to Brittany's party? You're making the family look bad. Jake, I can't afford it. Just put it on a credit card. I already maxed out my cards paying for the bridesmaid stuff. Then get another card. This is important, Lily. Don't embarrass me. I didn't go to Miami. Brittany gave me the cold shoulder for 3 weeks. 2 weeks before the wedding, Jake asked me to give a speech at the reception. Just something short, he said. Funny stories about growing up. You know, typical sister stuff. I was surprised. Jake usually didn't include me in things. Really? You want me to speak? Yeah, Brittany thinks it'll be nice, family bonding and all that. I spent hours writing that speech. I wanted it to be perfect, funny but heartfelt. Stories about how Jake always looked out for me when we were kids, how proud I was to see him so happy. It wasn't entirely true. Jake had never really looked out for me, but it was his wedding. I wanted to be generous. I practiced it a dozen times, memorized every word, even bought a new outfit for the rehearsal dinner so I'd look nice while giving it. At the rehearsal dinner, after everyone ate, Jake stood up. Before we wrap up tonight, I want to thank everyone for being here. Special thanks to my best man, Tyler, who's going to give an amazing speech tomorrow. Tyler stood and took a bow. Everyone clapped. And thanks to Brittany's maid of honor, Chelsea, who I'm sure will make us all cry tomorrow. More applause. I waited for him to mention me, to introduce the fact that I'd be speaking too. He didn't. After dinner, I pulled him aside. Hey, what time do you want me to give my speech tomorrow? He looked confused. What speech? The speech you asked me to write 2 weeks ago. Oh, right. Yeah, we decided to keep the speeches to just the best man and maid of honor. Too many speeches get boring. My stomach dropped. But I already wrote it. I've been practicing. Sorry, Lily. It's not personal. We just want to keep things moving. He walked away before I could respond. I spent that night crying in my hotel room. The speech I'd worked so hard on would never be heard. Once again, I was an afterthought. The wedding day was beautiful. Perfect weather, gorgeous venue, everything looked like it came straight out of a magazine. I stood in the back row of bridesmaids. Brittany's college friends were in the front, her cousins in the middle, me in the back where I'd be barely visible in photos. During the ceremony, I watched Jake's face as Brittany walked down the aisle. He looked so happy, so in love. For a moment, I forgot about being left out. I was just happy for my brother. The reception was at a country club with a huge outdoor space, string lights everywhere, a live band, an open bar. The pool was lit up with blue lights, looking almost magical. I sat at a table in the back, not at the family table that was full, not at the wedding party table, apparently there wasn't room. Just a random table with some of Brittany's distant relatives who ignored me the entire dinner. I watched the speeches. Tyler told hilarious stories about Jake's college days. Chelsea cried, talking about her friendship with Brittany. Everyone laughed and clapped and had a wonderful time. I sipped my wine and felt invisible. But here's the thing nobody knew. While I was sitting at that forgotten table wearing that expensive bridesmaid dress, I was carrying something in my pocket. An envelope. Inside that envelope was a check for $20,000. Let me explain how that happened. 3 months earlier, my grandmother, my mom's mom, had passed away. She was 87 and had been sick for a while. We all knew it was coming. At her funeral, her lawyer pulled me aside. "Lily, your grandmother left you something in her will. We'll be reading it next week, but she specifically asked me to tell you privately first." "She left me something?" "Yes. She was very specific. She said you were the only grandchild who visited her regularly, who called her every week, who remembered her birthday and sent her cards. She wanted you to know how much that meant. I had visited Grandma every Saturday for 3 years, sometimes just for an hour. We'd have tea and she'd tell me stories about her life. Everyone else was too busy, but I loved those visits. At the will reading, I found out she'd left me $20,000, a small portion of her estate, but to me, it was everything. She wanted you to use it wisely, the lawyer said, for school or a house down payment or whatever you needed most. I cried. Grandma had seen me, had valued me, had left me something that could change my life. I didn't tell my family about it. Something told me to keep it private. I decided to give half of it to Jake as a wedding gift. $10,000. It was generous, more than I could afford. But he was my brother, and I wanted him to have a good start to his marriage. I wrote the check the day before the wedding, put it in a waterproof envelope because I'm careful like that. Wrote a note, "Jake, I'm so proud of you. Use this to build the life you've always dreamed of. Love, Lily." I planned to give it to him privately, away from everyone else. I didn't want attention. I just wanted him to know I supported him. But I never got the chance. It happened during the dancing. The band was playing something upbeat. People were loosening up, getting drunk, having fun. I was standing by the pool with a glass of champagne, watching everyone dance, staying out of the way like always. Jake came up behind me. I could tell he'd been drinking. His face was flushed, his tie was loose, his groomsmen were with him, all of them laughing at something. "Hey, little sister," he shouted over the music. I turned and smiled. "Hey, great party, you guys look like you're having fun." "We are. You should join us on the dance floor." "Maybe later. I'm not much of a dancer." He put his arm around my shoulders. It was the most affection he'd shown me in years. For a moment, I thought maybe things were changing. Maybe he was finally seeing me as more than just the annoying little sister. "You know what would be funny?" he said, his voice loud enough for his groomsmen to hear. "What?" "If you went for a swim." Before I could process what he meant, he shoved me, hard. I flew backward into the pool. The cold water hit me like a slap. My dress billowed up around me. My shoes fell off. My champagne glass sank to the bottom. I came up gasping, mascara running down my face. Everyone was laughing. Jake and his groomsmen were doubled over. Some guests had their phones out, filming. Even Brittany was laughing from across the patio. "Classic," Tyler shouted. "That was amazing." I treaded water, humiliated. My expensive bridesmaid dress was ruined. My hair, which I'd paid $80 to have professionally done, was plastered to my head. My makeup was running in black streaks. And then I saw it. The envelope, floating out of my pocket. The waterproof seal had broken from the impact. It bobbed on the surface of the pool, right in the middle where the lights made it clearly visible. Jake saw it too. His laughter stopped. "What's that?" I tried to swim toward it, but Tyler was closer. He leaned down and grabbed it. "What's in here?" he asked, waving it. "Nothing. Give it back," I said, climbing out of the pool. Water poured off me. I was shivering. But Tyler had already opened it. He pulled out the check. His eyes went wide. "Holy shit. Jake, you need to see this." Jake took the check. "Read it." His face went completely white. This is a check for $10,000. The music stopped. People turned to look. $10,000? Brittany appeared at his side. "Who's it from?" Jake looked at the signature, then at me. "It's from Lily." Silence. Everyone was staring at me now, soaking wet, mascara running, shivering in the night air. "You were going to give me $10,000? Jake's voice cracked. I wrapped my arms around myself. "It was supposed to be private. I was going to give it to you later. And He looked at the pool, at his groomsmen, at all the people who'd been laughing 30 seconds ago. "I just pushed you in. I ruined it." Mom appeared out of the crowd. "Lily, oh my God, you're soaking wet. What happened?" "Jake pushed her in," someone said, as a joke. "But she had a check in her pocket," someone else added, "for $10,000. Mom looked at Jake. "You pushed your sister into a pool?" "It was just a joke, Mom. I didn't know." $10,000? Dad had appeared now too. "Lily, where did you get that kind of money?" "Grandma," I said quietly. "She left me money in her will. I wanted to give half to Jake, for his wedding." Mom's face crumpled. "Mom left you money? She didn't leave anything to Jake?" "She left it to me because I visited her every week, because I was there for her." "And you were going to give half to your brother?" Mom looked at Jake. "And you pushed her in a pool?" Jake looked like he might throw up. "I didn't know. It was just supposed to be funny." "Funny?" I finally lost it. "You've made fun of me this entire wedding, Jake. You kicked me out of giving a speech. You put me in the back row of bridesmaids. You seated me with people I don't know. You've treated me like I don't matter. And then you humiliated me in front of everyone. For what? For a laugh?" Tears were mixing with the pool water on my face. I was shaking from cold and anger. "I've spent my whole life being invisible to you, being second to you. I came to your wedding. I paid for an expensive dress I couldn't afford. I wrote a speech you didn't let me give. And I was still going to give you $10,000 because you're my brother and I love you." My voice broke. "But you don't love me, you never have. I'm just the annoying little sister you push around for fun." Brittany stepped forward. "Jake, what is she talking about? You didn't let her give a speech?" Jake couldn't look at her. "I thought it would make the reception too long." "She's your sister." Of course she should have spoken. Brittany turned to me. "Lily, I'm so sorry. I didn't know Jake had done that." "There's a lot you don't know," I said. "Like how I couldn't afford your bachelorette party and you iced me out for weeks. Like how I maxed out my credit cards to pay for this dress. Like how I've been treated like an inconvenience during this entire wedding." Brittany looked genuinely shocked. "I thought Jake said you were busy with work, that you didn't want to come to Miami." He lied. "I couldn't afford it. And instead of understanding, you made me feel guilty." Several guests were recording this on their phones. Some looked uncomfortable. Others looked fascinated. Mom grabbed my arm. "Come on, sweetie, let's get you dried off." "No," I said, pulling away. I'm done. I'm done being quiet. I'm done being invisible. I'm done pretending everything is fine when it's not." I looked at Jake. "You want this check? Take it. Use it for your honeymoon. Use it for whatever you want. But don't expect anything else from me. No more favors, no more forgiveness. No more pretending we're a close family when you've never treated me like family." I picked up my ruined shoes and walked toward the exit, dripping water the entire way. Behind me, I could hear murmuring, Jake trying to explain, Brittany arguing with him, Mom crying. I didn't care. I was done. I woke up in my hotel room to 47 missed calls and 83 text messages. Most were from Jake. "Please call me back. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. Please let me explain." Some were from Mom. "We need to talk about what happened. You embarrassed Jake at his own wedding. How could you cause such a scene?" "Wait, I embarrassed him?" A few were from people I barely knew. "I can't believe what happened. That was so messed up. Are you okay?" And one was from Brittany. "Lily, can we please talk? I had no idea Jake had treated you like that. I'm sorry." I ignored them all, packed my bag, checked out of the hotel, drove home. I spent the next 2 days in my apartment with my phone off, ate ice cream, watched movies, processed what had happened. On the third day, there was a knock on my door. It was Jake. He looked terrible, exhausted, like he hadn't slept. "Lily, please, can we talk? There's nothing to say." "Yes, there is. I need to apologize. Really apologize." I almost closed the door, but something in his face stopped me. He looked broken. I let him in. We sat on my couch. Jake fidgeted with his hands, not making eye contact. "I've been a terrible brother," he finally said, "not just at the wedding, my whole life." I didn't disagree. "I've taken you for granted, treated you like you didn't matter, made fun of you, left you out of things. And I never realized how much I was hurting you until I saw your face when you came out of that pool." He looked at me then. His eyes were red. "You looked so betrayed, so hurt, and I did that to you, on what was supposed to be a happy day." "Why did you do it?" I asked. "Why push me in?" "Because my groomsmen dared me to. Because I'd been drinking. Because I thought it would be funny." He shook his head. "Those aren't excuses. They're just reasons. Stupid, immature reasons." "You've always treated me like a joke," I said. "Like I'm not as important as you. Like my feelings don't matter." "I know, and you're right. Mom and Dad always favored me. I was the athlete, the popular one, and instead of using that privilege to lift you up, I used it to keep you down. Because it made me feel important." That hit hard. "You kept me down to feel important?" "Yeah," he admitted. "If I was always the golden child and you were always the afterthought, it meant I was special. But Lily, you are special. You're smart and kind and generous. You've worked so hard for everything you have, and I've coasted on charm and luck." He wiped his eyes. "Brittany is furious with me. She's been reading me the Riot Act for 3 days. She said if I don't fix this, she's going to seriously reconsider our marriage." Good for Brittany, I thought. "I don't deserve your forgiveness," Jake continued. "But I'm asking for it anyway, because you're my sister, and I love you, and I'm going to do better. I swear." "What does doing better look like?" I asked. "I don't know yet, but I want to figure it out. I want to have a real relationship with you, not just the fake one we've had where I ignore you except at family events." I thought about it. "I need you to understand something, Jake. That check, that $10,000, that wasn't just money. That was me choosing you over myself. I could have paid off my student loans. I could have put a down payment on a condo, but I chose to give it to you because despite everything, you're my brother." He nodded, tears streaming down his face now. "And you threw me in a pool," I said, "in front of everyone. You humiliated me. You ruined that gift. You ruined the one generous thing I was trying to do." "I know. So if you want forgiveness, you need to earn it. Not with words, with actions, with actually showing up for me the way I've shown up for you." "I will," he said. "I promise. Whatever you need, I'll be there." "I'm keeping the check," I said. "I'm using it for myself, for my student loans." "Good," he said. "You should. You deserve it." We sat in silence for a while. "For what it's worth," Jake finally said, "that scene you made, it needed to happen. People needed to see how I'd been treating you, including me. I was so caught up in my perfect wedding and my perfect life that I forgot about the people I was hurting." "A lot of people recorded it," I said. "It's probably online." "I know. Tyler sent me links to 3 videos. I watched them. I watched myself push you in. I watched your face. I watched the check float out, and I hated myself." "Good," I said. He almost smiled. "You've gotten tougher." "I've had to," I said. "Nobody else was going to fight for me." It's been 6 months since the wedding. Jake and I talk on the phone once a week now. Real conversations about life, work, feelings, the kind of conversations siblings should have. He and Brittany invited me over for dinner last month. Brittany apologized properly, said she'd had no idea how much the wedding expenses had hurt me, offered to pay me back for the bridesmaid dress. I told her it wasn't necessary. We were starting fresh. Jake started therapy. He's working through why he treated me the way he did, why he needed to always be the center of attention. Mom and Dad are slowly coming around. They still don't fully understand why I caused a scene at the wedding, but Jake's been educating them, explaining the years of being left out. The financial burden, the favoritism. It's not perfect, but it's better. And that check? I paid off half my student loans with it. The weight lifted from my shoulders was incredible. Grandma would be proud. Today, I have boundaries with my family. I speak up when I feel disrespected. I don't accept being treated as less than, and surprisingly, they're learning to respect that. Sometimes it takes a public humiliation to force change. Sometimes you have to make a scene for people to finally see you. That pool moment was the worst and best thing that ever happened to me. Worst because it was painful. Best because it finally made my brother open his eyes. I don't regret standing up for myself. I don't regret calling out the years of being invisible, and I don't regret keeping that money for myself. So let me ask you, if your sibling humiliated you publicly, would you forgive them or cut them off? Drop your answer in the comments, and hit that subscribe button because standing up for yourself is never wrong, even when it's uncomfortable.